Plateau State's government has raised concerns over the growing number of children outside the formal education system, revealing that 23.2% of school-age children in the state are currently out of school. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, Cuba's power grid failed for the third time in less than 11 days, sparking another nationwide blackout, the National Electricity Company said on Tuesday. The national power grid completely went offline at about 11:05 a.m., according to the state-run UNE Electricity Company. It was the third complete blackout on the Caribbean islands since early July and the fifth since the start of 2026. Authorities did not immediately reveal the cause. Cuba is reeling from its worst economic crisis in decades, one made worse by fuel blockade imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump in January as part of a pressure campaign aimed at ending 6 decades of communist rule. At number 9, England coach Thomas Tuchel confirmed Tuesday that Declan Rice is fit to start in the World Cup semi-final against reigning champions Argentina. Henderson is out after breaking his arm in a freak accident at the end of England's win over co-host Mexico in the last 16. Rice has been struggling with illness and came off at halftime in the quarter-final victory over Norway. Everyone's fit to start and everyone was in training except for Jarrell, who is suspended, and Jordan Henderson. Tuchel also told reporters in Atlanta on the eve of Wednesday's showdown. At number 8, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has told the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts that the Central Bank of Nigeria was indebted to the government to the tune of 5.3 trillion naira in unremitted revenue from its operating surplus. The Director of Revenue and Investment in the OAGF, Makinde Mogaji, stated this while responding to questions from members of the committee when the Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsuddin Babatunde Ogunjimi, appeared before the committee to defend audit queries from the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. At number 7, in a significant move to strengthen strategic communication and professionalize its public relations workforce, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations has inducted 70 public relations officers of the Nigeria Customs Service. The induction marked the service's first mass induction into the institute since 2013. Addressing the newly inducted officers, the Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, described the induction as a strategic investment in the future of the service's communication architecture. At number 6, the presidential candidate of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, Peter Obi, has said Nigeria requires competent, accountable, and compassionate leadership to unlock its vast human and natural resources and place the country on the path of sustainable development. He said discussions focused on Nigeria's democratic journey beyond 2027, development cooperation, international affairs, and strategies for strengthening bilateral partnerships to accelerate economic growth. The former governor of Anambra State expressed appreciation for what he described as the strong interest shown by participants in Nigeria's future. At number 5, the Kogi State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of a school principal, one NECO and HOC staff member, and 4 students writing the ongoing National Examinations Council at Govt Secondary School Odo Ekina in Dekina local government area of the state. The incident occurred on Tuesday, July 14, 2026 at about 5:25 p.m. when the school came under attack while students were writing the examination. A statement issued on Wednesday by the command spokesperson ASP Salisu Oyiza said during this incident 4 students, the school principal, and 1 NECO and ad hoc staff member were abducted by the attackers. At number 4, the federal government will assume full leadership of Nigeria's humanitarian coordination system by January 1st, 2027. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Bernard Doro, disclosed. Doro made the disclosure while briefing journalists after the opening of Joint Humanitarian Transition Workshop co-hosted by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction and the United Nations at UN House, Abuja. The workshop drew major stakeholders to map a 6-month roadmap for handling over the coordination of Nigeria's humanitarian response from the UN system to national institutions. At number 3, Governor Abba Yusuf has congratulated the government and people of France on their National Day, calling for deeper ties between Kano State and the European country. The governor spoke during an event at the French Embassy in Abuja to mark the celebration. He led a delegation of senior officials from Kano State. In a statement issued on Tuesday by his spokesman, Sunusi Tofa, the governor said the relationship between Nigeria and France remains strong and beneficial. At number 2, the Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools has criticized the federal government's now suspended proposal to increase registration fees for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination and the National Examinations Council Senior School Certificate Examination, insisting that access to education should not be sacrificed in the pursuit of revenue. Agbeshanwa acknowledged the financial demands involved in administering nationwide examinations, including printing question papers, transporting materials across the country, conducting examinations, marking scripts, and releasing results within stipulated timelines. At number 1, the Plateau State's government has raised concerns over the growing number of children outside the formal education system, revealing that 23.2% of school-aged children in the state are currently out of school. To address the challenge, the government says it's strengthening community-based interventions and considering stricter measures to ensure that parents enroll their children in school. Their commitment was reiterated during an advocacy campaign on the activities of school-based management committees, organized by the Plateau State Universal Basic Education Board in JUS. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.